Okay, we're going to do the last of our quick and dirty videos on order entry editing in Service Manager Control Panel. We're going to take a look at the individual line screens for editing. This is the list of order details, and I'm going to start this off as if I'm doing, for example, service billing, so I can kind of show you what's involved in doing service billing. So what I want to do is I want to add a new line. Let's just say that I don't have anything on here, or I'm just adding items from a work order. So I want to go to Add New. I can do Alt-A, and that adds a new line. First thing I get is a quantity. Put a quantity in, tab to the next field, put in an item number, tab off the item number. That will do a lookup, come back to the screen with the information for the item, and that line is done. Now if I'm ready to go on to the next line, I will use this button here, Save and Add a New Line, or Alt-A, and that will bring me right back to the same place for the next line. And I continue to do that. So I just put in quantity, tab over, put in item, tab, do Alt-A, save a new line, put my next quantity, my next item. So really, literally billing, if you have a quantity and an item number, is about as quick as it can be. Now, you can go back and set the mechanic and things like that if you need to. But as far as the actual entering things for billing, it's really pretty quick. But let's take a look at this screen in a little more depth now. This button, of course, simply saves this line, doesn't do anything else. This would save this line and add a new line to the bottom of the order. This button would save the line and then go to edit the next line, next existing line in the order. This button here would save the line and insert a new line right after it. So if I'm editing up in the middle somewhere, it would put the next line right after this line up in the middle. So we take a look at the fields in here just real quickly. The quantity, of course, is the number of the item that's used. The item number here, the Find Item button, it brings up a finder for inventory. So if you don't know the item number, you can find it by description and things like that. The description is what comes up by default when you put the item on the order. But of course that can be typed over. I could type over that now. I'm not going to. Unit of measure is unit of measure that comes up with the item. The quantity shipped is the quantity you put on it when you're ready to bill it. So if it's a contract, you put a couple items on it. You may not actually bill those until much later, but when you're prepared, when you're ready to bill it, you put a shipped quantity on it, and then you can create your invoice. This shows the quantity on hand at the location you've specified. So this is location 3 in this case. This means that there are 280 of these rollers on hand. The unit price is determined by the price level and the price list, but it can be simply overwritten. If you have for whatever reason you want to put your own price on it, you just type over it. The extended price will calculate when you ship a certain number of the item, and it also can be overridden for cases where the extension is a penny off or something like that. Location, as we said before, simply indicates the physical warehouse from which the item will be taken or was taken. That can affect the inventory asset account, but it does not affect the revenue and expense accounts related to the sale. What does affect the revenue and expense accounts, and that's all it does, is the category. So in this case, I have this choice will cause this transaction, this invoice transaction for this line to record general ledger, will record expenses and revenue against a certain general ledger revenue expense account. And that's determined by what category I choose. That's the purpose of that. Taxable simply means that this is a taxable item. Now the order itself may not be taxable. If the order is exempt, it doesn't matter, it won't be taxed. But if it is taxable, and by taxable we really mean retail sales tax, if that's going to be calculated on this order, then it will include this item in that calculation unless you uncheck this. 99 times out of 100 you leave it checked. Don't think about it. Print on a delivery ticket. If you want this to print on a delivery ticket, you can check this, and when you go to print your delivery ticket, it will appear. Site labels. If you have a customer that has multiple sites, multiple ship-to locations, you can set up for each ship-to location different areas on the job. For example, if they're doors, you might name each door, door A, door B, door C, and so on. If that was the case, now this customer doesn't have them, then I could identify where this item went, and then you can get a query that says, here's all the work we've done on door A, here's all the work we've done on door B, or whatever the item is. If it's loading dock, here's the work we've done on loading dock C, and so on. That's the purpose of that. The line book date ties the entry of this line to a particular date for the purpose of the sales report. So if, for example, you have a $10,000 contract that you got in January, that's a $10,000 sale in January. If you add another $1,000 in June, you put the June date in this line book date, and that will put that additional $1,000 into your June sales. This is the only way for the system to know what month or what period you want this sale booked in. Expected ship date. If the individual lines might be shipped at different times, you can put expected ship dates in here. Most of the work, service work, those kinds of things, probably not important. Do you want to hide this line on the invoice? Very often you want to ship items to relieve your inventory, but you don't necessarily want to show them individually on the invoice. If you click this, check this, then this item will not appear on the invoice. And there's a little bit of extra information down here about the item. If it's a non-stock item, for example, labor is a good example of a non-stock item. Non-stock item is something that you literally don't stock, and it doesn't move through your inventory and create accounting transactions, but you may want it to appear on orders to reflect the on the invoice, for example. Last thing here are the two comment boxes. Here's the invoice comment box. This is a ticket comment box. Invoice comments, of course, appear only on the invoice. Ticket comments appear only on work orders. There is a convenience in here known as the work performed list. And what you do with the work performed list is you set up common codes that you want to appear on your invoices. And when you check this checkbox, it causes that list to appear. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit so we can take a look at it. And what it does is it puts these, similar to the convenience phrases, it puts these phrases in the invoice comments. So perform general service, lubricated moving parts, adjusted track guides, and so on. And just like the convenience phrases, as you add these, they go to the bottom of the list. If you put your cursor somewhere up higher in the list, your notes will go at that spot. So I just put job canceled in there, and it put it right above the cursor. I think that kind of obvious. It works the same as the other, and I think that really does it for the basics, quick run through at least, for the item details.